This episode is brought to you by Bumble, who says Valentine's Day is just for couples. Just because you're not in a relationship doesn't mean you can't get out there and live your best love life. That's where Bumble comes in. This February 14th, you can flip the script and give those relationshipers a friendly dose of FOMO. Say no to staying in this Valentine's Day and yes to more. More dates, more first kisses, more gossip for the group chat girlies. Do Valentine's your way. Date now on Bumble.
Why take one vacation with the family when you could take all of them? With Royal Caribbean, you don't just go to the beach. You visit a private island and race down the tallest water slide in North America. You don't just go for a road trip. You ATV and zip line through the jungle. You don't just go somewhere new. You rappel down waterfalls and discover ancient temples. Because this isn't just any vacation. This is all the vacations. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Matt.
So I got to experience my first previously on OC.
Yes.
And I got to tell you, if I had somehow missed episode 1 and started on episode 2, that recap would have been zero help to me whatsoever. It's just like random shots of characters looking at the camera, very disconnected lines of dialogue.
Yeah.
I was like, thank God I did watch episode 1, because if I was like trying to sneakily watch episode 2 and pretend that I had seen the first episode, you'd call me out immediately. You're like, I don't think you watched that first episode.
It's like they were foreshadowing that you could skip the last time on.
Yeah, boy, can you. So the episode picks up pretty much right where the first episode ends, which is that Sandy and Ryan show up at Ryan's home and it is deserted. His mom and the ex-boyfriend or the stepfather have just disappeared entirely. And I love this because I love this for him. No, so this is the moment that I was hinting at in the first episode, where you already start to see Kirsten's perspective start to crumble a little bit, right?
Sure.
Because now this is her starting to warm up to Ryan's life experiences through the eyes of a mother who just like cannot believe that another mother would just abandon her son like that. And it actually choked me up for a little bit. Like I was really touched by the elegant silences that were happening during that conversation. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't this like rapid fire dialogue back and back. She just thought like, what kind of mother would do that? And then you just kind of sit with that sentence for a couple seconds in silence. And it's a lot of facial acting of her processing, like, maybe I do need to give this kid another chance. And the whole theming of this episode being, hey, we're sending Ryan to foster care. He'll be okay.
Yeah.
But Sandy and Seth both kind of being on the same page, like, he should be here. He'll be better here than he will there.
Yeah, he's 17 years old, so like we're sentencing him to what, a year of like living in a group home and who knows what else and all of that. And it's just, if he has people who care about him, why can't we be there? Kirsten's point is valid. But again, it's informed by her experience of being, growing up in that world and like wanting to protect her children, not concerned that he's gonna steal or anything, but more a concern of just like the physical safety of Seth.
I said this in the last episode, I don't see Kirsten as a villain, right? That is not a thing that I have thought so far on this show. But what I was kind of impressed by in this episode, and we'll get into the details a little bit more, is episode 1, I absolutely walked away thinking, all right, Marissa's dad, villain, Luke, villain.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Marissa's dad, villain? Jimmy Cooper?
I think so. I thought when he went into the bathroom and started having a breakdown, maybe not villain, but I was like, this guy's up to no good. You know what I mean? Like, I was very suspicious. This guy's up to no good. But then this episode with both of those characters showed a really impressive level of grayness with their characters in a show that I imagined everyone to be black and white.
Yeah.
There's those hints of gray where like Luke is still clearly not a great dude, but
No.
there are 2 or 3 moments in this episode that show like he's not a complete inhumane monster. But he ain't great.
No.
But yes.
He has some redeeming qualities. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like he has redeeming qualities. We need to understand why Marissa is with him in the first place. So these are the things that the surprises that we get are the things that she sees that no one else does.
Yes.
Which makes sense entirely, especially like, the way he is with the family, how much he, just like loves being around the family and stuff. But where he's an asshole with a capital A.
Yes, for sure. Before we even get into any of that, though, we're just reminded that like Seth and Ryan's chemistry as friends is just off the charts. Them just hanging in the pool, just shooting the shit, and I'm just immediately like, I love this friendship already. Like I am so on board. I feel like this is going to be one of those shows where they really want me to care about who these 2 characters are dating, and like deep down it's like they should be dating each other. Like they're perfect.
Oh, you've said the quiet thing out loud. You just said the quiet thing out loud.
Yeah.
I didn't even have to go there because you already went there.
Yeah, no, they have more chemistry than they do with currently. They have more chemistry than I see with Ryan and Marissa or with Seth and Summer. That could change, but that's where I'm at right now. Somehow they wrote Marissa into their escape plan, though. Ryan is like, I'm not going to foster care. Seth has this idea, which is you can sleep and live in this model home that my mom has been working on that is never going to get finished.
Yeah.
I guess it's because she catches them sneaking around and they're like, all right, well, like, we're going to bring you in on the big secret so that you don't accidentally rat out the big secret to anybody else.
We're introduced to Marissa not needing too much arm twisting to be a part of this. Is like this sets up a lot of stuff that's going to happen the rest of this season and then future seasons as well. It's this idea that like, Marissa, bored, discontented with her life, is always looking for something more interesting. And I think that that's what we're getting here. We're getting like, she's waiting to go to a birthday party. Oh, but mysterious stranger Ryan is back. Let's see where this goes. I feel relatively safe because Seth Cohen's here too. Grew up next to him my entire life.
We get a lot of character in this episode, actually. I like this episode a lot more than I liked the first episode, but there are some things that made me kind of roll my eyes. And the biggest one is that Marissa is talking punk music with Seth Cohen, just name dropping these bands like the Cramps and the Stiff Little Fingers and Fugazi while blasting the newest song by Rooney. Which is like it's just like, this is so fucking weird. Like I feel like there's going to constantly be at least a little bit of Gilmore comparison going on here. And like, this is some Amy Sherman, or actually more like Daniel Palladino shit, just like name dropping a bunch of obscure punk bands and dialogue.
That's how you know you're a Gilmore Guys disciple. And I'm like, you've decided, what Amy has done and what Daniel
has done for sure.
I agree with you. I'm not a punk fan, so I don't know that. But I'm listening to the music, and I'm like, this does not sound punk. No, not even in the same fucking universe.
Let me explain to you in a way that the first band she names is the Cramps, right? Mm-hmm. The Cramps did most of the music for Return of the Living Dead, like the complete opposite of what the music is that's playing in her car. Like it's like drony, angry goth rock, and we've got like this poppy ass Rooney song playing at full blast inside the car. Even before she starts name dropping the punk bands, it feels like a weird commercial where he's just like, she's talking to Ryan about music. He's just like, I don't know, I just like the sounds of music. And it's like, did they read the reviews for the first episode talking about the use of music and just quickly wrote that into the dialogue to acknowledge this?
Probably.
It's feasible. I guess it's feasible. But they get to the model home, and I hinted at this last week, but Seth Cohen is skateboarding inside of an empty pool, and it's such a vibe, and it's something I wish I could do. But again, I don't have the body strength or the balance to ever even stand on a skateboard. But more than surfing, I wish I could skateboard. I really, truly do.
It's giving Lords of Dogtown, but like the movie based on the documentary.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the most Southern California thing. Rewatching this, it also like I also realized that like when I bought clothes at that time, I was trying to buy like track jackets like Seth has. I was like, oh, Seth Cohen was my style icon. Ooh.
Yeah. Well, so I do want to talk about Seth and Marissa for a second, because in this episode, I felt like Marissa and Seth make more sense to me than Marissa and Ryan, between the mutual love of their music, when she casually catches his On the Road reference. Like, they're I'm curious to see if this is a thing that they ever actually explore in this episode or in the rest of this show, or if the relationship dynamics that have been established are just what they are and like no need to ever question them again. But this episode really made me go, I feel like that pairing makes more sense to me with the knowledge I have right now than the pairing of Seth and Summer, who have seemingly nothing in common with each other.
Well, I think what it does is like, oh, I have so much in common with you, and like you're with this guy who's been my bully for most of my life.
One of the most painfully unlikable characters up until this point. Like,
Yeah. And I think that what we're also seeing is the fact that like Seth, who has, styled himself as an outsider of this world, is realizing that like the things that he thought made him the outsider, that because no one else could understand him, is that if he just let someone in.
yes. Well, and that's what she calls him out on, because he makes some snide comment to her where he immediately knows when her and Luke started hooking up, which is, again, same with naming a boat after a girl who doesn't know you. It's creepy that you know the exact date that this girl started dating her boyfriend more than she knows the date that she started dating her boyfriend. But she calls him out and is like, why are you, what have I ever done to you to deserve you being so shitty to me? And he's like, what do you mean? You're right. You've never said or done anything with me despite us being neighbors. And she's like, yeah, because you think that you're better than literally everybody. And it's like, that's like the first time that you realize that he starts to see like, oh, maybe I'm the dick in this relationship. Like, my friend said this the other day about someone that we knew, where she just said, if you meet an asshole once every couple of years, that person was probably an asshole. If you meet an asshole every single day, you might actually be the asshole. And I feel like that's what like Seth Cohen is realizing in that moment. Is like, it's like, oh, I think everyone is shitty, but maybe it's because they're reacting to how shitty I am to everyone.
Oh, that's profound. See, this is like, we're easily 2 decades like removed from Taylor Swift releasing Antihero.
Yeah.
So so it's like, we don't have like, that like enlightened self-awareness that like maybe I'm the villain, maybe I'm the person that everybody hates.
Yeah.
But I forget what movie or TV show it's from, but there's a thing that I remember from a movie where it's like, he has no experiences. He gets we said this in last week's episode. He gets to be not the villain, but he gets to be the outsider who watches everybody, and he gets to be the observer without having any skin in the game, without putting himself out there. But from his, because of his anxiety, his whatever feelings that he has about like the people around him and how he's not understood, he's able to just observe and ultimately derive a lot of power from that. This is something that I really identify with on a personal level, because often in certain spaces and certain friend groups, I feel like I'm the person who I don't really want to engage with everybody, or I feel like I'm not being engaged, but I am very aware of the stories and the players of the people, and how the dynamics of the people in the room.
No,
Yeah.
it's something that's become really weird for me because as you know, and as people who've listened to pretty much any podcast I produce know, that I do have a side job where I work with a bunch of high schoolers.
Mhm.
And Joe, I could sit here and tell you over an hour's worth of all of the different high schoolers that I work with, their different dynamics, the different drama that's happening in each one of their lives, and how that drama intersects with their interpersonal relationships with each other. And how, like, if this person would just talk to this person, they wouldn't be fighting as much. But, like, they get all of their information about this person from a third party source that always bends things to make them seem worse. It is a interesting spot to be in where it's like, by nature, I should not be directly involving myself with that stuff. Like, the way that I always see my role within that particular position is like, keep your eyes open, keep your ears open. If people provide you with information, accept that they are providing that information to you. I don't want to say in secrecy, but
Confidence.
in confidence. So while I can't immediately go up to the person who is the problem and say, hey, you're being the problem in this situation, you need to fix it, what I have to do instead is live with that information and wait for me to physically see the evidence that backs up the information that was given to me in confidence, and use that as the moment to say something. And it's not fun, and it's not easy. Like, being an outside watcher of drama happening around you and not being able to directly fix it is not great. It's
No,
not a great situation to be in.
no,
Um,
definitely not.
but that is the role that Seth has, like, actively put himself in this show, right? He's staying out of it. He's watching all of it, but he can't help but be kind of a smug dick about it sometimes.
Yeah, he perceives it as wit, and how he, is one-upping people with that. And in actuality, it's, he just comes off as biting.
Yeah, no, we were talking about Friends last week. He's very early Chandler Bing in that sense, where it's
Yeah.
like he detracts women by the self-deprecation and the I'm being charming because I'm funny, but
Yeah.
really you're just being an asshole type thing. Again, I'm going to just throw it out there. Another Gilmore Girls connection in this episode. If anyone asks, you're Sookie. Marissa dips out on plans with Luke. She's supposed to reconnect with Luke at Summer's birthday bash, which Seth knows when Summer's birthday is for creepy reasons as well. Seth is a creep for sure.
Yeah.
And she's skipping out on hanging out with Luke. She makes up a lie that she's going to get some, like, hair and nails did type situation so that she can help Seth move Ryan into this model home. He tells her to bring the survival stuff. She brings a loofah.
She brings a loofah. Looks like she brings, like, some doily, just whatever they have around the house. Which,
Yes.
of course, Julie Cooper keeps, like, a brand new loofah around.
Yeah, 100%. And so I'm going to jump a little bit around for a quick second because I want to kind of bundle this all into one spot. But I do just love how dramatic and how much drama is just oozing through almost every single second of this show, because we've got whatever's happening with Mr. Cooper and Mrs. Cohen. There's these awkward phone call interactions where you know that there's a history. Seth said in the previous episode, like, my mom almost married her dad.
Yeah.
But, like, it's like, what there I'm watching it going, y'all better not hook up. Like, I don't like that I'm feeling a little bit of that romantic tension on this show. Don't you? You can hurt everybody in the OC, but if you hurt Sandy Cohen, I will fucking rage. But then we also get this beautifully paced out information being brought into Marissa's life of her being in the model house, helping Ryan and Seth set up things. And that's how she finds out that her dad's business and basically her entire life is like falling apart and unraveling. And we don't examine that at the end of this episode beyond one line where Mr. Cooper goes into the bed and he goes, "What's wrong? We tell each other everything." And she just goes, "Do we?" with a question mark. And that's all we leave it at. We don't dig deeper into that. I'm like so excited to see when this insanity is going to continue to spiral out of control. But we've got all that. I wanted to tackle some of that real quick because that is I feel like you may be thinking, "Oh, Kelly, just you wait. This is such vintage OC drama. You're scratching the surface here, but I'm loving it so far. I'm loving every second of it."
I really want to go there with you, Matt, and I just you just have to wait and see. Like the idea that like Jimmy Cooper and Kirsten Cohen live next door to each other and like have a history, grew up together, is something that comes into play for sure. And here's your Friends reference. I'm surprised you haven't brought this up. Jimmy Cooper is Joshua, I think season 5 of Friends.
I'm trying to remember who Joshua was in season 5, though.
He was the one who Rachel was working as a personal shopper at.
Oh my God, it is. Yes. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah, that was a dumb storyline.
Tate Donovan. That's the actor's name.
Dude, Rachel, side note, Rachel has some of the dumbest relationship storylines. I'm on the tag season right now where she's dating her assistant and he's just dumb as dirt. I don't know what she sees in him. I know from spoilers from other people that I also have to endure a Rachel Joey relationship plot at some point.
Yes, but like not for a while.
But yeah, the drama of it all, it's fantastic. I love it. Also, we get a fight in the restaurant. They're sitting there getting some food, and Luke sees them, starts to fight Ryan yet again. I do think that the fight in this restaurant is a lot better than the beach fight for me. It's just it's hitting a lot of just high drama beats. Whereas like the beach fight's so quick. It's like, all right, they're standing around a fire. It's like a couple punches, a throw down. This is like they are ready. This is like an 80s bully fight in the restaurant. Like
yeah.
Like it's giving me real like actually both fights kind of give me a Karate Kid vibe, but like this gives me some serious Daniel Son
yes
Karate Kid vibes. But that's not the end of the fighting, Joe.
No.
Because of course Marissa leaves Summer's party to go and check on Ryan again. And while she's there, first of all, the song Hallelujah is playing in the background, which I cannot think of another song that is more overused for dramatic and romantic beats than the song Hallelujah. Like to the point that the song has mostly lost its meaning. But as she leaves, Luke shows up again. And Luke shows up and they start roughhousing him. And there is a badass Ryan line where he's like, "Am I going to have to kill you?" And he says like, "Why don't you just kill me and quit talking about it?"
Yeah.
Which is such a baller line. But this is where I wrote down the note that there have so far been more fight scenes than episodes. This show. 2 episodes in, we have had 3 fight scenes.
You'll for as smart as he is, like Ryan Atwood needs to go to anger management. Like he
100%.
really does.
And then I just wrote in all caps, "The fire. This is all so dramatic." I love it. I'm loving every single second of it. There is a very unnecessary camera pan up to the windows with some really unfortunate CGI fire coming out of them that I probably could have done without. And I actually felt sad as this fire's happening because I'm like, God damn it, they're stacking the deck against Kirsten not liking Ryan once again. Like her heart was melting. She was ready to welcome him back into the home, and then he burns her model home down.
And like let's also like, you know, for those, if you're listening to this, you obviously you are a fan, or maybe you're thinking about watching it. like, it's not just that it's like a model home. Like, this is a freaking mansion. Like, this is a model mansion
that's designed to look like Jimmy Cooper's childhood home.
Which was insane. Like, that whole exchange was nuts. It's like, oh, this reminds me of like my parents' house. And it's like, yeah, I'm like, Kirsten, what the fuck?
Yeah, that line. I like, my jaw was on the ground. But it's within this fire, right? This fight in this fire is where we get our first glimmer of maybe there is some redemptive qualities to Luke. Because as fucked up and mean as Luke is, he is not willing to let Ryan actually die, right? Like, he could have easily left Ryan in that house. That house would have collapsed on him and the Ryan problem would be done. But he runs back into the fire and he pulls Ryan out. And then additionally, as if that wasn't enough, I thought that was all we were going to get from Luke. I really thought that was like the end of like, oh, we've got like a tiny hint of humanity. He then gives Ryan a ride. And when the police are arresting Ryan, he doesn't even try to hide the fact that he was part of the fire as well. Like, he's very open that he was a part of it. Now, I don't know. There is still plenty of time for them to continue to make Luke a total dick. But this is the first time where I'm like, am I going to actually not hate Luke by the time I'm finished the show at season 4?
No, you'll still have plenty of time to hate him.
Okay, cool. Okay, so this isn't a permanent thing. I also just have a note, which I can't even remember the context because I've said it enough times, but one of my notes just says, God damn it, summer fucking sucks. And I think it was just her one scene. She's like drunk at her party and he says something and her answer's just like, ew. And then like I'm like, I hate this girl so much. Like, I really don't like this girl.
If I had a nickel for every time I said ew, unironically, and not even referencing this show, I'd probably have hundreds of dollars. Maybe not thousands, but definitely hundreds of dollars.
So I say ew about things, but like she says ew about like very minor things like, oh, he's from Chino. Ew. Or, like, hey, I went to school with you. And she's like, it's like almost mean-spirited ooze, not like, not like, hey, I really like this trashy movie. It's like, ew, why would you like that movie? Like, it's like, ew, your entire personality is trash to me.
Yeah, it's like it's very much a very much a personal attack. Like, how, like, I don't like it and therefore it is garbage.
Yes. So there's this whole argument. Seth Cohen is not helping the Ryan argument too much in the sense that day 1 comes back with a black eye. Day 2, he helps Ryan hide in a very expensive model home that then gets burnt down in a fire. But as as Sandy is punishing Seth does make a very compelling argument for like, we can't send this guy to foster home. Like, why? I have no friends. The only time that I've ever connect it with a person, we're about to send him away where it's not going to benefit him whatsoever as a person. He's only going to be in another shitty environment where like there are people who love and care about him right here that want to make sure that he's okay. Like, he should stay here. It's a very good, compelling argument. It may have won everybody over had the police not been arresting Ryan out front, but Daddy Cohen walks up to him and just says, hey, this kid's my client. Ryan, don't say a word until I see you. And it's like, Daddy Cohen's still going to be fighting for Ryan, baby. He's not giving up on this kid. Not yet.
No, we're not giving up yet. We're not giving up on Ryan because Ryan is, Ryan is Sandy. Like, Ryan and Sandy are, to Sandy at least, one and the same. This is, I'm helping this kid out.
I really love the relationship that they're establishing right out the gate with these characters. And again, I cannot wait to see what happens next. I'm fully invested in the drama at this point.
This episode is brought to you by Bumble, who says Valentine's Day is just for couples. Just because you're not in a relationship doesn't mean you can't get out there and live your best love life. That's where Bumble comes in. This February 14th, you can flip the script and give those relationshipers a friendly dose of FOMO. Say no to staying in this Valentine's Day and yes to more. More dates, more first kisses, more gossip for the group chat girlies. Do Valentine's your way. Date now on Bumble.
Why take one vacation with the family when you could take all of them? With Royal Caribbean, you don't just go to the beach. You visit a private island and race down the tallest water slide in North America. You don't just go for a road trip. You ATV and zip line through the jungle. You don't just go somewhere new. You rappel down waterfalls and discover ancient temples. Because this isn't just any vacation. This is all the vacations. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
Do you like to laugh, geek out on music, and learn all about that band or artist who had that one song back in the day, but then seemed to fall off the face of the earth? If so, you need to subscribe to One Hit Thunder. Together with an array of interesting and hilarious guests, we do a weekly dive into one-hit wonders like Eiffel 65's Blue, Krayshawn's Gucci Gucci, EMF's Unbelievable, Delamitri's Roll to Me, Los Del Rio's Macarena, Musical Youth's Pass the Dutchie, and even Patrick Swayze's She's Like the Wind. So are you subscribed to One Hit Thunder or what? As Desiree would say, you gotta be. And as K7 would encourage, you gotta come baby come and join in on the fun of the One Hit Thunder podcast.
Come, baby, come, baby, baby, come, come. Come, baby, come, baby, baby, come.
So let's talk about some of the songs in the episode.
Sure.
Ryan, and feel free to chime in if you have any quick memories of any of these songs, even if they're not in your song of the episode. But we kick off, they're in the pool. California by Rufus Wainwright is playing in the background as they're just lounging in the pool. We've discussed the Rooney song, I'm a Terrible Person, that's playing in the car when they're driving around.
Not the first time Rooney will show up in this.
Well, you mean not the last time. It's definitely the first time that Rooney
yes, the first time Rooney shows up. It's not the last time. Yes.
I feel like Rooney, I know nothing about this band beyond an album cover of theirs that I think I'm remembering correctly that had a bear on the front of it.
Yes, it's the California flag, basically.
But yes, I feel like Rooney was a band that was very connected with the OC.
Rooney is the lead singer of Rooney is Jason Schwartzman's brother.
Oh, well, there we go. That makes sense.
He's the lead. He's the love interest in the first Princess Diaries movie.
Oh shit. Okay. I did not piece that together in my head. That's awesome.
Yeah.
The Doves, Caught by the River, plays during a montage scene of Ryan, Seth, and Marissa going down the beach to go get some food. When they enter the house party, the Androids Do It with Madonna is playing at Summer's house party. There's also two other songs that are in that party that I could not find any information about on TuneFind. And I already mentioned Jeff Buckley's cover of Hallelujah. So the question is, Joe, what is the standout track of this week's episode of the OC for you?
It's Hallelujah.
Really? Okay.
It's Hallelujah for sure. I mean, here's the thing. It will come into play again later in the season.
Okay.
Which, the thing I love about the OC is that it's not afraid to use like a pop song as like a leitmotif for like characters, like I'm like rewatching just for fun. I'm rewatching the Lord of the Rings movies, the first trilogy, and in the same way that you're doing something with the hobbits,
Yeah,
right,
the musical motifs. Yes, gotcha.
Yes, the musical motifs. Like it's the same thing, but it'll be the same song over and over and over again.
It's the Ross and Rachel With or Without You by U2. When you hear that song, you're supposed to think of those two. Gotcha.
Yes.
I didn't go with Jeff Buckley on this one, actually. I went with the Doves. The Doves, Caught by the River. There's something about that scene of them just like full of energy, full of joy, running down the beach, getting ready. The song is just perfect with the scene. I was like, this is this. As soon as that scene happened, I was like, unless I am like floored by the usage of Hallelujah later on in this episode, this is my pick because I have the TuneFind list pulled up, so I can write down all the songs as they come up, and I caught that Jeff Buckley was in this one.
Yeah, the Jeff Buckley, also like on a personal note, like the Jeff Buckley of it all, like really, when you're in your like angsty early 20s gay boy bullshit, like there's nothing quite like this like very stripped soulful version of Hallelujah.
It is a beautiful cover. It's I mean, I'd be hard pressed to think of a better cover. It is one of the best covers of all time. So It is a good song. This is not a diss on the song Hallelujah. I'm just over it being in everything at this point.
Yeah.
Joe, what is the pop culture phenomenon of time and space that you have been obsessing over lately?
It's so it's so funny because we are recording these. We're recording these in bulk. So we can only have so much. I think like right now I'm really kind of absorbing and intaking as much as I because I just finished The Rings of Power
Okay.
on Amazon, and so I'm like doing that thing where you go online and instead of reading the Silmarillion, I'm like reading other people's writings about it.
I get that. I get that. All right. So researching what's happening in the mystical
Yes, in the
Tolkien
Tolkien
world.
lore of it all. Which, by the way, if anyone is like, I don't. This is a shout out to a podcast that's like to another podcast on a different network. The Decoding TV podcast that Dave Chen hosts. He brings in experts to recap the shows, different TV shows. He's done Westworld. He's done She-Hulk Attorney at Law. He just finished Rings of Power with like one of the like prominent people of Tolkien lore on the internet, and their conversations are so delightful. So listen to that if you need, because they process things as well. And even then, as I'm still listening to them process it, I'm like going in there and still doing research.
Well, Joe, if you think that pick is going to feel slightly dated by the time this comes out, I went from a show from the 90s to I'm talking about something that literally started airing 2 days ago. At the time that we were recording this, Netflix just dropped season 3 of Love is Blind.
Oh no.
And and while there are not standout characters that are trash heaps quite the way Shake was in season 2, man, do they have it has never been more clear on any reality show than season 3 of Love is Blind that every single contestant is in this for the Instagram follower count to bump up and nothing else. Have you indulged in any of this season of Love is Blind?
No, I'm indulged only in like the first episode of Love is Blind, and that was like the weekend before California went into lockdown in 2020, and I was like making lasagna because when the world burns, you just make lasagna, and
Yeah.
I was putting something on, and I was like, let's see what the big deal is. Not knowing that like it would basically be the future of relationships for the next year would be Love is Blind.
All right. So let me tell you that the editors at Love is Blind are so good at doing these contestants dirty in the way that they edit. So there is one character who, unless something happens at the time that I'm recording this, was not picked to be engaged by anybody, which was the correct call because he had nothing but Patrick Bateman energy throughout the entire, just like business guy, possibly serial killer, possibly a cyborg, possibly a serial killer cyborg. But they're interviewing him after he proposes to one of the girls and she turns him down. And in the middle of his post interview, he goes, excuse me, can I apply some eye drops real quick? And they're like, sure. And you see him put the eye drops in his eyes, and then he just starts to wipe them and goes, I've just never been so hurt in my life. It's like,
no.
And they left the whole conversation of him asking for permission to apply the eye drops just to fucking bury this dude. It's like those moments where you're just like, God bless you, whoever's editing this show, just like, fuck this guy.
Wow. That's awful, but
yeah,
delicious.
I already mentioned her once in the first episode. I'll mention her again. Ashley Victoria Robinson, one of my ride or die trash TV people. When like new seasons of The Circle or Love is Blind drops, we are just texting each other every day that the new episodes come out, just dropping mean-spirited one-liners about these people left and right. It's great. I love just the trashiness of it, the drama of it. So I feel like Love is Blind season 3 and The OC being things that I watched all within a 24-hour period just makes sense in a weird
You're getting
way.
a lot. You're definitely getting a lot of white people problems there.
Oh, an overwhelming amount. And if people are absolutely loving these white people problems and they want to hear more about our just people problems through our different podcasts, I host pretty much every single show on geekscape.net. But where can they go to check out your stuff there, Joe?
The one of the shows he doesn't host, Matt doesn't host on Geekscape.net is Fright School with me and my co-host Joshua. We're two queers talking about horror, talking about overcomplicating it, making it making it more than what it is. Is a beheading just a beheading, or is it a commentary on the state of housing in the United States? Who knows?
You never only Fright School can answer those hard questions.
Yes. So if you're curious, hop on over to Fright School, and we'll see you there too.
Awesome. Well, we'll be back next week with episode 3, The Gamble. I'm excited. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the gamble is, Joe. I'm going to have to watch and find out.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.